Okay, it's 9 o'clock here in Europe, um, and in your regarding time zone, whatever time it is, it's really great to have this global virtual marathon. Yeah, and more than happy to be a part of this and now present you the session about how to successfully manage Office 365 release cycles. My name is Robert Mulsow. I'm an independent consultant with my company Skillbridge, and you can also find me, of course, on social media with my Twitter handle, Rob the Ninja. And let me tell you a story why I really like this virtual marathon, because I'm a marathon runner. So therefore, it's even greater for me to have this session. You have a part of this session. And if you don't believe me, I have a picture for you. So here it comes. So this is from Berlin, I think 2.5 years ago. And yeah, running with a costume makes a lot of fun. I can recommend this to everybody. And on top, Berlin belongs to the Big Six. So you can see me on the Wall of Fame, finishing all Big Six marathons. And if you still don't believe me, my name is really on it. So it's really great, especially for me as a marathon runner. Maybe there are more marathon runners out there to have now here a session with you together. Some more quick heads up information for those guys who haven't seen me. Yeah, I'm a speaker, I'm a blogger, digital transformer actually. So I do all with this modern stuff, and I really like this Microsoft technologies. And since I'm promoting a lot around this field, I was also voted as the Microsoft MVP for the field of Office apps and services. My company I mentioned already, just feel free to reach out if you have any obstacles to overcome, and I'm more than happy to help you with that. And yeah, I'm actually an outdoor freak. So instead of marathon running, I also really enjoy sailing. I now found out during Corona time, I like cooking. If I can do this outside, even better. And yeah, when Corona is over, I also love to travel, go on beaches and then go swimming and so on. All right, and then some information about how you can follow me. I will also show you this information in the end again. Before we start, we have some paperwork to do, so some information for you at the beginning. Some of you may have seen this already in some of the other presentations. Just for your information, the SharePoint conference was renamed. We have now the Microsoft 365 Collaboration Conference, just for your information. Thank you all to all the sponsors here who always support that those community events are possible and we can watch this, or you can watch this for free. And of course, you can also win a prize when you visit their booths, so in this case, their sessions, and then you will be able to answer some questions in the end. This is a link to it, also a little QR code if this is easier for you. This I will also give you at the end of my session again. And last but not least, of course, feel free to make some donations to these companies to get through this this pandemic. It's a hard time and unprecedented time for all of us. So therefore, yeah, we should all stay together. Okay, now let's start. Also, you can evaluate my session, also the entire event, and this is what you can also find at the end of my presentation again. So please feel free to provide feedback so that we can do better for the next time. So paperwork done. Now we can really start, and actually how to manage successfully Office 365 release cycle is a very good morning session, I would say. So really smooth start into the day if you're here living in Europe, but also the other regions are of course more than welcome, because we'll quickly start with an evergreen approach of what it is, because this is actually behind of Office 365. Then also the release rings, why they are important and which release rings we have and what options you have to choose them. And then we will go through a couple of options. So it's hopefully most comprehensive, but feel free to always add during the chats or to the Q&A that you also find or have some other sources or channels where you get your information. So feel free to also help the other attendees here. So based on all these available options, in the end, I will give you my recommendation, how I stay up to date, how I also know this from other MVPs and IT administrators. So therefore, maybe this also gives you a good idea and a good guide to work with it. Okay, the Evergreen Approach. So this is because you get all the feature updates all the time from Office, and therefore I hear so often, oh, that's too fast, we can't keep this pace from Microsoft. I personally like it because better Microsoft is doing than any other competitor. And when you get the most latest features, version, security updates, then your company is secure. You can get advantage of all these new features. And this makes you as a company even better. And as Satya said, it enables you to achieve more. So therefore, I really like that Microsoft is pushing out so many features in a short time. And this is actually Microsoft's job to stay behind this fast pace of rolling out new versions of components, but also the underlying infrastructure and all these data centers. This is really great. And this also means that the roles of the classic IT administrator, as we know from on-premise environments where we had to patch all the stuff and so on, this has now changed, and we now became multidisciplinary experts to look into different things, to think more strategically, to really get advantage of these new features and versions that we got. And this is now more our responsibility. Okay, how is this achieved? Sure, by very short release cycles, that when we get all these informations in such a short time frame, and the act of managing these continuous evolution, this is called just evergreen management. I also brought you 3 images here, how you can see how it was maybe in the past. So this was like on-premise approach. So you have your shipped on-premise major version, and then after 2-3 years, there was a next major version. And we had a heavy impact to make this migration, hopefully during the weekend, if it was enough time, but it was always a nightmare. So therefore, this is not the best approach. Then, okay, we can reduce this impact. So you may know some of the security or update patches, or from SharePoint 2016, we had these feature packs, for example. But in the end, there was still a major update. So okay, it was good to have a smaller impact, but still not the best. The best, of course, would be the Evergreen Approach. And sure, it's always there are stairs, but it's very short steps. And then you can see the sunrise, sunset in the end. But of course, Microsoft also had to do a lot in the background, also in the underlying infrastructure and the software development to make this possible, to have a very modular and a very agile approach to roll out this feature that is not then impacting the other feature. But when this is done, then we can really follow this evergreen approach. Okay, so far so clear, I guess. Let's switch to the release strings. And some of you may know agile working procedures. So really adapt to change and roll out in shorter releases, even if it's not 100% done. At least ship it out so that we can get advantage of what it was finished so far. And I think this sounds similar to you when we get some features from Microsoft. Sometimes it sounds or looks like it's not fully baked in the oven yet. So some little glitches maybe, but still, most of the scenarios are working just perfect, and you can just start using it. And this is actually great. And also, for this rollout of these new features, there are different release strings in your tenant that you can influence on what release ring you would like to stay. And we have 3 phases. So it's a standard release so that the entire tenant gets just the general available features when they are really available for everyone. Or you can have a targeted release. So this is roughly 3 to 6 months in advance, so that so on the second case, so the entire tenant gets all the new features when they're really out there. And third one is, for example, you can only select certain users to have these early access to new features. And yeah, and then you can select, or then you can try it out. So to see this on this little overview here, it's like we have 4, or total actually 5 different rings. And I was able to use this new people in PowerPoint, which is quite great. So therefore I replaced the original picture here. And there you can see in the ring null is actually development team, the feature team from Microsoft, who are developing the feature and then rolling it out to the Office team. And they're really on the earliest normal users who start to find out how this is looking like. If this is working well in this small subset of the Office team, then it will go to the entire Microsoft company. This is ring 2. And if this is going well, because yeah, Microsoft has around 100,000 employees, this is a quite big testing platform then already. And if there's no bad surprise, then it goes into ring 3, into the targeted release. And this is where you can jump in and also get then early releases. And if even there's no issue or something else, then it will go into the general availability and it will be rolled out to everyone. And also this rolling out, we are in a very big world. So we are not only 2, 3, or 4 companies in Microsoft data centers, there are a lot. So also please expect here that the rollout takes some time, sometimes weeks, maybe even sometimes months. But then it's really generally available for everyone. Why are these rings important? It's important because sometimes there's a change where Microsoft is 100% sure there's no impact for the users. Then they can just do it. But they can also be an impact, or definitely be an impact. And this should be tested. So how the users react on this. So therefore, we can, for example, test this in targeted release where some users try it out already, and then let's see how they react. For some changes, it's maybe not clear what will be the impact. Is it big or low? The best example for this is the reply button in Microsoft Teams. Everybody of us did the mistake already that we created a new thread instead of answering to an existing thread. And this is something that Microsoft is investigating already a lot since a couple of months to get the best user experience. And this is really a best example of this different release rings to find out what's the best way to make everybody happy in the end. Okay, yeah, this is actually the release ring cycle. And just for your information, there's one additional ring hidden here. And this is between 1 and 2. This is a special MVP ring, only for a few MVPs, not for everybody. But even there, Microsoft is reaching out to the expertise and yeah, to the opinions of some MVPs. And they also get then very early access to some very new features. Okay, these preferences, where can you select them? Let me show you this in my tenant. Oh, here we are. No, we are not here already. So I go to my administration center. And when you go on the left-hand side to settings, there are the organizational settings. And here on the top, you navigate to organization profile. And from there on the bottom, you can see this is a release preference. And here I selected for my tenant, that's a target release. So for everyone, if you want, this really can make sense for a production environment, for production tenant, that you want to give some power users early access to new features, then you first select this option, save changes, and then you will be able to insert the regarding users here. So this is how it actually works to change the release cycle of your tenant or of specific users. Okay, no rocket science, easy going. Let's switch back to our presentation. And now let's go into the different options I collected for you. So first of all, we will talk about the Microsoft 365 roadmap, because this can be considered as the truth, because this is very officially. It's usually maintained twice a week, so that across all these different features across Microsoft 365, if there's a new feature on the roadmap or a change is, so from development now and rolling out or something like this, this will be monitored and then updated on a quite regular basis. So therefore, this is a very good one-stop shop to find out what's next, to say it this way. Since there are a lot of features, you have, of course, the capability to search, to filter for certain products, for example. You can even download this, which I prefer usually, because then I can use the Excel filter. You can also share this link to someone else, especially when you filter down to specific ones. Then it can make sense to share this with some colleagues. And also very good is the subscription to the RSS feed. So if you go with your roadmap from Microsoft, then my recommendation would be create this RSS subscription so that you get regular updates when there's a change on the roadmap. Or even better, just use Microsoft Teams, and then you can add an RSS feed into a channel, and then all these updates will be posted into your Teams. This is also a very nice feature. Also here, a very quick view into this if you haven't seen this already. So here, this is a Microsoft roadmap, Microsoft 365 roadmap, and you can see there are 720 updates currently in the queue, in development, rolling out, or what is launched. Also, when it is planned, release Q1, for example, in 2020. This is now all should be launched already. But good to see here in Enhanced Thread Explorer, sometimes this is the nature of development. There are some issues so that this can last longer. So therefore, don't take these releases as it's written fixed and then Microsoft must deliver. There's always change. Also, nobody was forecasting this Corona pandemic, and therefore also something else had to change. The forecast for these roadmap is around 1 year. At the moment, I found the earliest feature, which is scheduled for Q4 2021. So this is even 1.5 years ahead, but this is roughly the horizon, how far you can watch into the future. So just quickly, what is a filter? I think you are quite confident with this. You can filter for the regarding technology, for the regarding products, and then of course, if it's in development or rolling out and all the stuff. And what I also like is because there are updates on these roadmap that you can also say, hey, please show me changes within the last week or within the last month. And then you can see only the updates that has been or that are new, for example. Okay, so this is it. On the top right side, also the download button that you can share the link on the subscription to the RSS feed. Let me quickly show you the export of the download. Here we have it. So it's in CSV format. If you then make it into this column view, then you can see the feature ID, the quick description, which is actually the title, and then some more details. The status is in development, also the release, the planned release in the end. So here you can then use regarding filters from Excel if you want to filter by something specific. So everything that is, I don't know, in Q1, for example. And then we can see all the releases of Q1 2020. Okay, easy going, all right? Perfect. So let's go back That was a roadmap. And on top of the roadmap, the official one, is a roadmap watch. This is a project from a Microsoft employee. It's not the official, it's not a kind of official channel, but it doesn't make much more than the roadmap. It just aggregates all the information from the official roadmap and track changes. So this is really good if you are monitoring a specific feature, for example, then you can see, okay, when was it in development? When was it in going and really rolling out? When was it going in launch, or when was something changed? Yesterday, for example, I found something for forms, and then the title was changed. And when the title was changed, this is kind of interesting. So these kind of information you can find on this project, on this roadmap watch. Also the possibility here to create an RSS subscription, or you can also browse by feature. Very quick overview. So you see I'm jumping back and forth. Hopefully it's not too fast for you. Now you got used to Microsoft release cycles. Nothing is faster than this, right? Okay, so here we are on this roadmap watch, and it's usually sorted by the feature ID. So the most up-to-date feature ID is on top, and then you can scroll down, or on top you can browse by feature or subscribe to the RSS feed. Yeah, and when we take now, for example, this one, it's not a good one. It's searching for something that has multiple information on it. I have to go deeper maybe. So let's see here. Yeah, here we see it, for example, it was in 2016, in June it was in development. Then the title was edited in this case. Before it was just called Edit Post, and then it was renamed to Edit Post in Yammer. Okay, good to know. And then 1 year later, it was launched. So this is the a nice advantage, in my opinion, to find out what has changed for specific items you are monitoring, for example. Okay, a good one. So let's jump back and forth. It's a marathon, so I hope you sweat in the end. So, and what's next? Yeah, the next one is the next official thing. This is a message center in Office 365, together with a weekly digest email we can configure to send out. And actually, this is a really good and professional approach to really stay on top of all the changes and to manage the change management. Because just getting the information is nice, but you also have to take care. What is the impact for your users? And therefore, I really like this message center because this is an overview of planned changes. It also gives you an indicator what could be the impact. And then, of course, more information, how you can prepare and similar information. This message center, important to know, only admins, administrators of the tenant can access it. Okay, so this is good for maybe some partner models that, you know, they need to have an administrator account, for example, if you want to go this way. Otherwise, if you don't want to go this way, there's the ability to send out weekly email digest, also with then the regarding information inside. And you can put here kind of a distribution list and create a distribution list for for these information. And then you can also put some other users inside who are no admins, but who should get information what will be changed in the future. So therefore, they have to follow up with that, because maybe it's a partner model that you are using. And then you can inform the partners that your tenant is going to get a new feature, and the partner should now prepare for that to develop a training for the users or something like this. You can also watch these message center information in the mobile app from Android and iOS. This is quite nice if you're on the go. It's quite a good overview to take it there. So just also as a side information, you get this information there as well. My recommendation here is configure the preferences. So if you're not using Yammer or not using specific features that it's not active in your tenant, just unselect it because you don't want to get any information from this. You can also say just all information of planned changes or only major updates, which has high importance to not get flooded by too many information. This is what you configure there, same as like the weekly digest email. So let me give you here as well the quick information where you can do this. Okay, I'm jumping back to my Office 365 tenant. And here on the left-hand side, under the health category, you will find the message center. And yeah, here it's now loading all the messages. I haven't read many of them, to be honest, so therefore it takes a while to load it. But you can here then filter by high importance, so which are the high impact for the users, unread messages, or any messages that you have archived. So you can see now all the information and with this little sneaky icon, so for what product it belongs. And when we scroll down, for example, here with this sign, you can also see the updates which have a high impact on your environment. Click on preferences, and here you can then update and configure the information where you want to get information about. So just check or uncheck what you want. And on the bottom, you have to scroll down. You have the ability to just send to your general administrator account, or send to this distribution list if you want to use it this way, or separate single users, and then you can do it here as well. All right, now we got this done. Perfect. Then we know the message center is this one-stop shop to really go ahead and work proactively to make your change management. Let me maybe just open one item here. So here we see, for example, a quick description of it. Also roadmap ID, so link to the roadmap where we just came from. And sometimes, or here we also have some additional information, which is then the link to more information, detailed information. If you need to configure something, for example, in this case now, it will just be extended from Microsoft, but this is what you can do there. And then, all right, perfect. Let's go ahead. Next one. Next one is for all the developers for you. So all this information from the message center, but also for the status, if your Teams is up and running or not, all this information you can get. And if you want, you can communicate to this communications API, version 2 in this case, and there you can get then the information for you. There's a nice project which I mentioned here as an example. On GitHub, if you want to use it, but also the API reference, if you want to start from scratch and develop your own custom solution for that, then do it. If it's just information to gather the information or the current status, it's not yet a value added, of course, because the same information you have in the message center already, or on the status on the mobile app as well. But if you're building a custom solution, then of course you can do additional things. So when you get the information, then you can assign tasks, for example. But sure, it needs your skills to develop this custom solution. Up to you. Just want to mention, if you haven't heard about it, that this opportunity is there. Okay, but I'm coming back to this custom solutions afterwards when we have some special approaches to stay ahead. Now, I still want to stay in the official way, what we can do, and this is the Microsoft 365 Videocast, which is a playlist on the regarding YouTube channel. And there are quite short and sneaky videos, so really just only 5 to 15 minutes, roughly. And this is then released each month. And there you get a quick overview about all the important updates, products, features, services, and all the stuff. But be aware, not all changes will always be covered. So therefore, just have this in mind. It's a really great overview to get really the hands-on on these new features, but there's no requirement that really all features are covered. I still like this approach, and I will tell you also in the end why when I come to my final recommendation. For this specific recommendation of the Videocast, it's really nice. Schedule just 15 minutes in your calendar at the end of each month. It's really not a lot of time, and it's super easy way to stay ahead of what's coming. 50 minutes is really not a lot of time, so this is a really good way. Okay, and going further, this is my personal favorite as well, because this is digging deeper into new features. Also similar length, so 5 to 20 minutes in this case, but will be released more often, because in this case, it's a kind of an interview with the people behind the feature. So the Microsoft folks, the developers or the product owners, product managers who were responsible for the new features, and they talk about why this feature, how it works, show this in a demo, show how to configure, and this is really good information to prepare in advance what is coming. Is this really good for you? So therefore, it's also showing the value for your tenant, and therefore this is what I can recommend additionally. Also here, either check once a week what was published, and if there's something interesting for you, you can then watch it, or just subscribe to this channel, and then you will be notified automatically, of course, if there were new content added. Right, and if there are some German guys here, very similar to the monthly podcast, an MVP colleague of mine is running this Office 365 Academy, and this is a 1-hour call, also for free in this case, where also the latest information from last month will be discussed. And in addition, what is really the impact for the users, what is the value out of it, how you can best use it, and in a general, but also if you want to use it for your specific company, then it's also customized. Then these information, these videos are really dedicated for your company. It's also a good way for the German speakers here, for example. Okay, these were the videos, and now for the readers for you. There's a Teams blog, which is actually also very snake overview, and you can see it here on the screenshot. When a feature was released, then it's very quick and short, quick and dirty. No, really quick and nice, because you can see with screenshots here. What is now the change? And you can also filter by the regarding platform and technology. And this is also quite nice way to get a very quick overview. Okay, what has Microsoft just released and officially communicated? Let me have you here a quick view for you. Yeah, here we go. So what's new in Microsoft Teams? You may have heard about this, raise your hand in a meeting, which was just released, or just a few days ago, this 9 videos finally in one screen, and more will come, as Microsoft stated on the user voice. And yes, you can see really a lot of information, and very short and sneaky. And sometimes also, if there are more information available, so like a quick blog post or so, then you can also have the link to this. This is specifically to Teams, of course. I personally haven't now checked for the other technologies, but since I'm mostly focusing on Teams, this is what I, for example, use also to stay up to date in this case. All right. Good. So these were so far the real official information. It's really maintained by Microsoft. We are now transitioning in a hybrid phase. Okay, it's special because it's not available for everybody. You will see this now in the next slide, because this is now monthly technical update briefing, and I was stamping it by Microsoft because this is only available for Microsoft Premier customers, or what was it called? Global support customer. I think this was a word. And this is just a monthly call. There are two options: just a general briefing, just a kind of a webcast, which is covering, so each webcast is for each product. So like one webcast for only SharePoint Online, one only for Teams, one only for Exchange, and so on and so forth. And you can just watch it. It's not customer specific, but it also gives you from Microsoft directly, so from Microsoft Premier Field Engineers, the information what will be rolled out shortly or on a long-term roadmap, so that the companies can prepare for it. And there's an additional option. This is a Workshop Plus. And this is a technical briefing. It's a 1 hour dedicated session, so really specifically for each customer. So then the Premier Field Engineer knows, okay, this infrastructure or this tenant is used in this company, and therefore can prepare the relevant information just for this workshop. It's really nice, but yeah, it's Microsoft service in this case. Another specific Microsoft service, now here I see it, it's unified support, not global support. Also for these customers available, that Microsoft is coming to you and then build the automated solution. So when we are talking about the APIs, this is kind of used for that, but then forwarded to DevOps, or also alternatively to Planner. And then the regarding information will be posted on Teams as well, just to stay aware that new features are coming. It was assigned to Max Payne, and he's following up so that this feature has no impact for the end users. So something like this. Sounds great, right? Because everything is automatically, you can have a really professional management of all these changes assigned to the different responsibilities. And this is actually a really great way. Yeah, so therefore, this is actually the best approach to really drive operational excellence and yeah, have just an improved process of your change management of all the new features, and then simply minimize risk because everybody's aware and stay on top, and you still have Microsoft as a backend to support you on a regular basis. So if you're a Microsoft customer, Premier Field, Premier customer, or Unified Support customer, reach out to Microsoft, ask them, so reach out to your technical account manager for these both scenarios. Sorry, Microsoft, if I say that you don't need this for Microsoft, you can do this for you as well, then of course you can. So there is a Planner integration. So it's an open source project in this case, so that you can also gather all the information that you have from the message center or for the other sources, and then push it to Planner. And then, for example, one bucket for SharePoint, one bucket for Teams, one bucket for Yammer, and so on and so forth, and then automatically assign the responsible admin to this. So this is possible and looks nice, as you can see from the screenshot. Small one, but anyways, but it takes I would say a lot of work, or kind of work, let's say it this way, to really implement this, some development. So you should really have seen code before already to get this done, just for your information. But this is a really, really nice way to have a very operational excellence of your change management with planned changes from Microsoft. And now even better, so one step back, the good thing with the scripted thing is when you have the expertise to do this, of course, you can adjust this and really address your specific needs. But there's also rolling out currently, not yet arrived in my normal tenant. Yeah, this native Planner integration. So when we were clicking on preferences, some of you may have seen this in that tenant already, because it's currently in the phase of rolling out. And as I said, due to the amount of customers around the globe, not everybody gets it as the first page. So here next to preferences, you will then get a button, integrate or synchronize with Planner. And then you will be guided to your 4-step plan. Just prepared this for you. And you will then be asked, so into which plan you would like to push these notifications, and should this integration create new buckets for you, so like one for SharePoint, one for Exchange, and so on and so forth, or you may use already a couple of own buckets. For example, this you can select here on the first page. On the second one, you can say, do you want to push out all updates or only the major updates, and only stay informed, or really which have a big impact, and something like this. These are now the similar preferences as you have in the message center. And then last but not least, you can let it sync automatically, or you want to check first and then sync. And at this stage, you have only once the chance to select how far you want to go back into the past to sync all these changes. So if you're constantly updating your messages from Message Center and there's nothing back, you followed up with everything already, then you don't need to worry about it. But if there's still something open, I would recommend take a longer period back so that you have really all the tasks synced to the planner, and then you can work there. Just with normal agile working processes, assign people, all these can be assigned automatically, and then have a professionalized change management. So here again, just back, these will then be the different planner cards. And you can then also open this. You get all the information that you would usually see also in the message center. So this is really cool stuff. And I can't wait to play around more with it. Okay, so this was so far the real professional. So we started with a really official and with the true, so all maintained from Microsoft. Then we were kind of a transition, custom solutions, and so on. And now we go into the social part to also cover this. And you may have heard about the Microsoft blog. So that's the tech community. It's a Microsoft or the Office 365 blog. And this is not only from Microsoft, but a lot of folks are there and post information and answer questions and so on and so forth. Also trends, what's coming or what's interesting, or maybe we need some feedback. Do you like this? Should we also implement this in our tools? So this is the Microsoft part. But still, it's just a forum where everybody can ask questions, and then Microsoft reps directly from the product group or other experts are then up there and help you. One information for you, because of course it's kind of official, on the icon, when you see a blue circle around, then it's a Microsoft rep. So it's not officially Microsoft, but if a Microsoft rep says something, I would say, okay, I really trust more this guy than, I don't know, some occasional contributor who just joined a day ago, for example. And if you find people with a green circle around, these are the MVPs. And also MVPs have some experience in these technologies. So it's also good to consider their opinion as well. But of course, every opinion counts, and I don't want to make this negative, but just if you are unsure if this is now really true or not, if this is a new feature coming or not, then this can maybe give you a little bit more indicator than if there's just a new user just joined yesterday this forum and just post something. Okay, also here the recommendation, create your RSS subscription or put these information into your Teams channel. This is also nice to use, and it's a really great tech community. This is really a community feeling here. Community rocks. Okay, and my last slide for the different options is when we were already kind of social with this blog, really social connections. And first of all, because I'm using this to stay up to date, is Twitter. Just follow some of those official accounts, Office 365. no surprise. Microsoft Teams, also really good. Microsoft 365 status. So if there's any service degradation or something similar, then it will be posted from them, or some other information. So like Microsoft Mechanics, which I showed from the YouTube channel, for example. Also feel free, what is always good, follow some of the Microsoft reps. First of all, Jeff Teeper, of course, or if it's Mark Cashman, Chris McNulty, all these guys. And there are also some really great other guys posting information like Tracy van der Schiff, we have Paul Keizers from Netherlands. I'm also trying to aggregate only the important information. I'm not a socializer on Twitter. Really just try to retweet, or collect the information that are important in regards to Microsoft product updates. Similar is on LinkedIn. There you can do the same, find their official accounts or the regarding users from Microsoft or other guys who post good stuff. It's up to you what you prefer, Twitter or LinkedIn. Both is a good way. And last but not least, and really good and really important, because the user voice, it's not a Microsoft platform, it's a user voice platform. Microsoft is using this for their products, for all their products. As you can see here on the right-hand side, that I highlighted maybe the important ones for Office 365, maybe also a little going into Azure and Intune, but there's really for everything a user voice. And the screenshot here is from this video thingy that we have now, I think, almost 55,000 votes for this. Before it was private channels with 25,000. So this is really something Microsoft is listening actively and want to hear your feedback. And then Microsoft officially is making a statement to this. If this is now considered, we need more information, how you want to have this, and so on. And if this is going to be rolled out. And those user voice features are not always tracked on the roadmap. Mostly, but not always. So therefore, I always recommend to have here an eye on this user voice. Usually when you're on Twitter, follow some of these accounts, you get what is trending on user voice. This is kind of a back and forth in this case, but it's definitely also a point to check what is coming, what is Microsoft planning to roll out, and what's the current state of a specific feature. All right. Before I go to my recommendation, just let me check if there's anything with questions. PowerPoint slides, yeah, PowerPoint slide will come, of course. So then let us summarize our session, because that's how the entire universe works. A quick overview. My recommendation, what I've seen so far at my customers, it's that they use a mixture. And this is very good to use a mixture of all these available options that I showed you. Some of you have seen maybe even more, or use maybe different ones. Feel free to add in the chat or to post this with regarding Twitter handle and hashtag on Twitter for the session, that also the other guys can benefit from this. Also, if something was new here now and you are now really motivated, you want to go ahead, try it iterative, so like agile. So don't have the expectation you now have to have the perfect setup to stay up to date. Try it out if the weekly digest mail work for you, or if Twitter works for you, which Twitter accounts and so on. Really check this then on a regular basis, maybe once a month, if this is good for you, not too much information, but also not too less, that you don't miss anything. And this would be my recommendation here. But don't just get the information, really also act in regards to the information that you get. And therefore my recommendation in 3 steps for the future, what is coming and what is rolling out, what is maybe trending on user voice, for example. Use the truth, which is a roadmap, but also your social connections. There you get the trends and what's going crazy, what will have a big impact, for example. This is how I, for example, use the far lookout, what is coming. Second, for the real professional change management, so I know now something is coming, I use the weekly digest and then check it on the message center, of course, with the link, more information. Even better, it would be to have then the planner integration. This is an even more professional approach. So this is, I would recommend you to really have the professional change management approach. And for this, if the information from the message center, from the further links are not sufficient for you, I would recommend these videocasts. For example, this Microsoft Mechanics, this is a good one, or the tech community blog, or maybe just use the search engine of your choice if you need more information to see some screenshots, how this looks like, or how in Microsoft Mechanics they have configured it, and so on, or what are the best practices to now utilize this new feature. And this is then actually the last thing I would recommend. And then actually you're good to go, and I'm living quite well with that. And I hope you have a similar strategy, whatever strategy it is. I also hope you're living quite well with this. All right, guys, then I'm at the end of my presentation. Was great having you here. Hope you also got a good overview. You found some interesting information to stay ahead. And then please feel free to feedback my session here. Give feedback, and as the universe, so the more stars, the better the view. And also please provide feedback to the event, the raffle QR code, and feel free also to stay in touch with me. This is the end of my session. Thank you for joining it, and I wish you a great rest of this virtual marathon. Bye bye.